Yeah, how are we?
Hello, I'm very good. How are you?
I'm doing incredibly well. How's life treating you?
Life is good. It is, well, it was sunny a moment ago, but now it's overcast again. So,
Yeah,
the
bipolar weather
usual.
in the UK. It's as weird as bugs going wrong in development. Give us some context into Harriet, yourself, and SuperSeed.
Sure. So I'm Harriet Walker. I'm the head of talent at SuperSeed VC. We are early stage investors and we love backing very technical founders, building really cool companies in Industry 4.0. So obviously AI, SaaS businesses specifically within that domain. So anything that changes the way that the world works or the way that we move around the world or move things around the world is really our bread and butter. And we think that it's AI at the application layer that will have the biggest net productivity and efficiency gains within these sectors. So that's the top line about us, but we invest at pre-seed and seed stage, predominantly UK-based businesses, but also European companies as well. So but my role as head of talent is I run our talent function here, which basically consists of a three-pronged approach to supporting our portfolio company founders with attraction, onboarding, and retaining top talent to their organizations. So I've built a three-pronged model to do that through advisory work. So on any and all people and talent topics associated with scaling, from hiring someone to someone exiting the business and everything in between, from compensation to leveling to organization design. I will try and kind of see through and see if I can support on, but my bread and butter on go-to-market sales, commercial hiring, and maybe more exec search stuff as well. So more senior leadership roles across the portcos. And then finally is building a network. So that's on, for example, if we need fractional leaders, or we need a PR firm, or we need a coach, or we need a talent SaaS provider, recruitment agencies, you name it. I essentially try and be the center point for all of those different people and those different kind of functions across SaaS and startups that will eventually help our portfolio companies be more successful. But that's a bit what I want to do here. But I spent the last, I think it's nearly 12 years now, which is
Yep.
crazy, working in talent. So I've worked for some industry leading household name companies and brands, including the likes of Uber, L'Oreal, and Getir, and most recently On Running. So yeah, it's been a hell of a
So
journey,
in
and now I'm at
short,
VC.
Harriet has done a lot, basically. It's like
I love
weathered
it, yeah.
just a little bit. 12 years of absolute chaos in some of the best organizations on the planet. And then you've come over to the dark side on VC.
Yeah, if you could call it the dark side, I guess.
Well, we would hope it's not too dark. We try to add some light to it on this show. First off, I have so many questions. Talent is one of the black boxes that no one really understands, and so hopefully we can debunk some of these theories today, but also get into the mind of someone that actually moves the needle within these organizations and attracts talent towards them. All right, first and foremost, you must talk to some of the most prolific people in the world, given that Superseed's investments are in like 4.0, right, of the world. What do you see that other people don't? Like, where do you find your alpha? Like, is it going out into the world and going to hackathons? Is it them inbound coming to you? What are the traits and the characteristics that you look for?
Oh, that's a great question. I honestly do, because most of the businesses that we obviously we invest in are very early stage, so they haven't really got
Mm.
that brand equity as of yet to really pull in. There are some cases, of course, when it does happen, if people are particularly interested in a specific area and they've sought out that founder or that specific business and they have an interest in working with that space. But typically, most of the people that I reach out to are through LinkedIn, through our network, and through speaking to people who are builders who've been in similar size and similar stage businesses before, who are looking for another early stage opportunity, who are have particular subject matter expertise or industry knowledge domain within the sector that we're building within. So typically that's where I find most of my people. I have a pretty good network on LinkedIn, and obviously been doing this a long time, so know how to seek out top talent there. But there's an insane number of ways that you can meet people. For it really depends exactly on what it is that you're recruiting for and how you should best optimize your search strategy to find those specific people. Like obviously going to hackathons is great if you want to meet engineers, but if you want to meet salespeople, then of course you can take. You wouldn't meet many of them at a hackathon, so it really just depends on
Where are you finding
what it
salespeople
is that
these
you're looking for.
days?
I find most of my salespeople on LinkedIn, and then through recommendations and through my network of other talent people that I've spoken to, and then equally a lot of candidates offer up some really great referrals as well. But I do a lot of deep kind of sourcing on LinkedIn, and then using also like platforms like Juicebox and other kind of creative AI ways of sourcing, like using ChatGPT like extensively pretty much to find people. And then I think the beauty is in the personalization of the reach out, and really kind of tailoring that specifically to that individual person. And actually, I don't know if people know this already, but recently discovered that Perplexity is actually incredible for doing this by uploading all your information that you have about a specific business, or or the role, the founders, the mission, everything that you can essentially into Perplexity, and then finding people on LinkedIn, and then putting their URL and asking Perplexity to build you a really hyper personalized outreach message to that individual based on everything that they can find about that person online. And this is particularly good for reaching out to engineers, because it will scour the internet for Google Scholar articles that they've written, and then other kind of pieces of publication that have worked really well. And it's not my tip for knowing that. I stole that from a friend of mine who's very handily helped me on some engineering roles. But yeah, I don't know if that's a really roundabout way of answering your question, but it's a number of different ways to find really great people.
When you're recruiting talent at pre-seed and seed level, what are you looking for there? Brilliant basics, like really understands the foundations to a degree, can like clock in, clock out, and do the work, and like actually get this company up and running? Or are you looking for like the diva that you can sort of mold and work with?
Yeah. So when I'm looking to hire people for our portfolio companies, I do the brilliant basics. For me is mostly like running the process and teaching the founders and the people that I'm partnering with on how to structure a really great recruitment process. For me, that is what brilliant basics looks like. But when I'm actually reaching out to people, you're looking for stage relevancy. I think that's the one thing I've learned from working here is you really need to find somebody who has done a similar journey, who wants to be a builder, who's built from 0 to 1 before, who has that kind of entrepreneurial drive and really understands what it takes to build in a cash constraint, a resource constraint environment. Equally for us, like a lot of our portfolio companies are very niche in their particular area, in the areas that they're building within. So having someone who has that domain knowledge and knows that network within that specific industry is incredibly important. And it really just, if you can find someone who's just a 0 to 1, you find someone who's solved similar challenges to what it is that they're going to be solving within this business, has that obviously industry and domain knowledge and expertise and that network. It is often the case that is only a handful of people that you're going to be reaching out to. So finding those real needle in haystacks is what I kind of seem. I didn't think I'd be particularly good at this, but it seems to be that I've managed to find quite a few needles in haystacks over my time here, which has been great. And I'm really looking for people who have solved similar challenges to this before, who are up for another early stage opportunity, and who know what that consists of, and who knows what that entails, and have experience where they've proven that they've done it before.
How, like, what I'm trying to get at here, right, is like, is there a gut feeling that you have when you find the right candidates? Is there something that you know that other people don't? When you look at someone, or after an initial conversation, you go, okay, like he's wired or she's wired that way, we're going to find a fit. Does that craft end up being honed inside of you?
So I think that you should always be data backed, and you should always make sure that you do your due diligence and checking everything, and being very kind of strict on the brief that you're looking for, and all of that stuff, right? That's all super important in recruiting. And what I'm basically trying to say is you shouldn't just go off gut feeling. However, your gut does know, like it does tell you a lot when you meet that candidate, but all of those other things that I've spoken about before have to be there in order for you to kind of feel that feeling. And I think for me, that feeling comes with really knowing who the founders are, really knowing like how they operate.
How do you do that? Do you end up just spending time with them and observing, or is it like sitting next to them almost like a forward deployed engineer and being like, this, okay, I understand how you operate?
Yeah, for me, I'm mostly working with the founders, so really understanding how they operate. Because a lot of these roles will report directly into them. Like, where are their strengths? Where are their weaknesses? Like, how do they like to communicate? What do they value? What kind of business are they trying to build? The type of values that they're trying to emulate within the business. And I think that when you interview people for so many years, you really start to see, okay, just characteristics and elements of that person's personality coming out that emulate different things. So like you can just, I know it sounds
Oh,
really like basic,
really?
but you can just tell. Yeah, you can really tell like, and I think when you get good at it, you can really start to say like, okay, I think that this person would work really well with this person because their communication style complements them, or they're looking for someone who's super data orientated. Maybe this founder is less so. And you can kind of see, okay, I think that this person could work really nicely with this person because of XYZ reason. But most of the assumptions that you make are based on facts, right? And then you obviously see like, okay, personality fit wise, culture fit wise, I guess you could just call it that. For me, it's more of the stuff that you hear, which then kind of gives you that feeling that, okay, this is a really great fit. But I think that a lot of recruiters say that you just have that feeling. Like I have always felt that I've just known immediately, like if there's going to be something that works, I always feel like I have that feeling. But I do try and back it up with like, okay, this is like, let's take the gut feeling away for a moment and just see if there's actually is something here. And I think a lot of recruiters would say that they know when you know, and like most recruiters know very quickly. So yes, I think it's something that you can just have, but it's not something I don't think that you can't train and look for. But I'm very receptive to people. That's why I work with people. That's why I'm in the people world. So I use that strength to my advantage to be a better recruiter.
What's hard about recruiting today? Do we have a lack of talent across like Europe and the UK? I think like most of where SuperSeed's investments are, but correct me if I'm wrong. Or actually, do we have exceptional talent? Talent is just difficult to find.
I think we have incredible talent here in Europe. We have some of the top universities in the world. We have some of the smartest people coming out of these top institutions. We also, in the recent, obviously, the light of the very recent news with the H-1B visas, now hopefully have a big, really exciting opportunity to
Oh,
attract like
you are sitting
global.
there like, oh yes, bring them to me.
Yes, somewhat. Obviously, it's terrible for anyone affected, et cetera, et cetera. But there is obviously you have to see the silver lining in this opportunity, right? And I think that this is a once in a generation, maybe even bigger opportunity for Europe to attract like really kind of exciting people from across the pond to come and work in Europe who maybe hadn't considered it before. I think so long as we know how to capitalize the best on this opportunity, I think that we have there's no reason why we shouldn't be equally as competitive. But yes, I think there's that. I think that the market is there. I think that we have great talent. I think that recruiting is hard because there is such competition at the moment between startups and not even just startups, but like more legacy players offering insane salaries to people. And that's why I think that it's more
How do you
really
compete with that?
deeply. Well, you can't on comp, right? Let's be real. Like you're not going to turn around and say, "Here's $100 million offer."
Would you
But
compete
I
on
think
equity
also
then?
you could obviously compete on equity. Equally, it's not going to be worth as much as it is
Yeah, but
the
when you're
actual
playing the
cash value.
pre-seed game, like you are
Yeah,
playing the
yeah.
game of like fund returners.
But you're also playing the game of a value alignment, of vision and mission alignment,
Mm.
and someone buying into that founder and having that founder be like their beachhead and their like inspirational person that they want to work with and have that day-to-day contact with, rather than someone who is so far out of reach and they don't have the impact in larger businesses that you're going to have in a startup, right? In a startup, like the buck starts and finishes with you. So you have that opportunity to make a significant impact. And there are candidates out there, and there are many, many candidates out there who want that. They only want that. They don't want to be a big cog in a big a big business anymore. And they will forego a pretty hefty compensation package to have that fulfillment. So for some people, that's more important. And finding those people is more difficult than just having a search on LinkedIn, right? I've been very lucky. I've found some really fantastic people for our portfolio companies through LinkedIn, equally through leveraging my own network and through our portfolio network. But like knowing and having conversations with people is like the only way you're truly going to really get to understand that. But
Do you end
of course,
up
you can
building
see.
a
Sorry,
stable? Do you end up building a stable of just incredible talent that you can
a
constantly have
stable.
a dialogue with, right? It's not, it's like you don't keep them, enclosed, but it's these people that you can consistently reach out to. You have like
Yeah.
conversations with, you kind of check in, check out. It's like, where are you at? What are you up to type vibe.
Yeah. Well, I think we call it in talent a talent pool rather than a talent
The
stable.
stable talent
But I do like
stable.
that. I do like that. I do like that idea.
Because we only
Yes,
want to back racehorses.
Yeah, of course. And look, in VC, that's like part of the whole value proposition of having a talent person in a VC is that we not only are we in some cases recruiting or running searches, but we are building a network of experts that we can tap into. If our portfolio company founders, for example, are hiring a role they've never hired for before, or they need a particular expert's opinion on XYZ thing, then we should have a network there that we can suggest, hey, you should talk to this person. They've done a very similar thing that you've done before. They've solved a very similar problem to what you're trying to solve before. So yes, we keep them in a pool.
Why do VCs need a talent function? Isn't the whole idea is that you give these like incredible founders money and you let them get on with it? Or is this part of this package that comes with a VC today where we're trying to add more value than just give you capital? Or, you know, if you have problems, if you have issues in the hiring process, you know, look, tap into the network that we've built for you.
Yeah, it's a number of those things you just touched on. So for us, we believe that hiring at early stage is hard, right? Finding the right person is difficult because I think that as a founder, you're so easy, can be so easily distracted by like red herring candidates, right? Someone who's worked for a dream company, maybe
Your
that
Metas,
you're like,
your
yeah,
Planeters, your
exactly. And they're like, yeah, I'd love to try an early stage opportunity, but equally they haven't done what you're hoping that this person will do. They can say that they've done it all before, but like I see it time and time again, and it's one of the biggest red flags that we see is founders just really wanting to hire from like a list of like well-built businesses, which is fine if you find the right person who's like done the right stage within that specific business. So like finding the first go-to-market hire or finding the first engineer or whatever. But those people equally like maybe they're not ready to go back and do another early stage opportunity. Maybe they've moved on with their life. Maybe they're doing something else. So it's one of the biggest challenges, but we exist in at least in my role to help our portfolio companies get access to talent that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise got access to. Also to kind of steer the boat if they're not sure on like how to run a great hiring process. Obviously, they're very time constrained too, so it can take a lot of that burden away from them and run a really efficient and well practiced hiring process that results in hires, right? Not just people rejecting your offer at the end of the process. Because I think that happens a lot more in early stage hiring than I've seen in other businesses that I've worked in before. Is because that brand equity isn't there, because they're not super familiar with the business. They haven't maybe spent as much time with the founders or spent as much time in the process really like doing their due diligence. Maybe there's not enough information about this business to really deeply understand them. Like all of those things are missing. So having a really great recruiter or someone who can guide a candidate through a recruitment process on a founder's behalf to keep them engaged, keep them interested, answer their questions, etc., because all of those touch points ultimately lead to an accepted offer at the end of the day. So we have it for that reason, but other VCs have talent functions to have a talent pool, as you said, of really great people that they can tap into, whether that be fractional people, whether that be experts in building revenue engines, whether it's CMOs, whether it's product people, whoever it is, who can then connect with and speak to leaders within their respective portfolio companies and learn what best practices, learn what great looks like, and also have a roster of like here are the top
what does
10.
great look like?
That's like the biggest question I can answer, but it really depends on the function. It really depends on
And
the
so in the
stage.
context of sales at early stage, you're hiring essentially like first GTM. What does great look like? What does exceptional look like? Because actually we want exceptional, we don't want great.
Yeah, well, for me, it all goes back to what they've done before, right? You've got to
And
find
what
someone
are you
who's done
looking
it.
at? What are you looking at there? Someone that's already done it once, or someone that's
Yeah.
had an inkling of, oh, I've been in a team, I've been that early hire. Is it
For
specific
me,
within the products as well? Like, do you want them to have used Clay, or it's that someone that can build
oh,
out a complete GTM?
I think it really just, for me personally, it's someone who's done it a similar journey before within a similar space, who understands the challenges that they're trying to solve, like understands their ICP. And now I think, yes, like knowing the latest tools to use, like being ahead of the curve when it comes to AI adoption within go-to-market. Obviously, we've seen the rise of these go-to-market engineers, which I think is a super cool role. And I think a lot of functions, especially talent, actually can learn a lot from a go-to-market engineer and what their remit of their role is and implement some of those best practices. But I digress. It really, really depends, right? And that's the thing. And I think that a lot of founders don't necessarily know what that good looks like. And so having someone in a talent function within a VC who can really help them scope out, okay, here's what the remit of the role should look like based on what you've told me that you need, based on what we know we need to do, and what kind of things we need to unlock in order to get the business to the next stage of its growth. These are the elements that we need to consider in order to do that. So there is no one size fits all for what good looks like. And a great talent partner will be able to help you disintegrate, because a lot of founders just say, oh, I need a go-to-market person, right? But they haven't thought like in detail what that profile really looks like, considering the key outcomes, key achievements, and kind of key like personality fit that you need to have in this role. Because again, not every candidate, will connect with every founder. So really breaking down all of these different things into silos, and then determining within that area or within that kind of profile, what does good look like in that profile. So it's a bit more scientific than just saying what does good look like, because it's a bit of a broad scope thing. But yeah, the key is having someone who can help you break that down and really build what a perfect profile looks like based on those things.
And you've honed that craft incredibly well. I want to go back to something we mentioned at the start with regards to like the gut feeling. Obviously, honing that gut feeling over the course of 12 years has been a craft in doing it itself. You sort of have to figure out what works, what doesn't, double check the gut. But it's important to back it by data points, right? How hard is hiring today through a screen? Because like you must have the data on like mentally on when someone looks away from the camera, when they look up, the human psychology you must understand. Talk me through a little bit of that from a talent perspective.
Yeah, well, this is also a kind of a hobby of my husband and I. He's in sales, so we love studying and
Some
learning a bit
people
more
go
about.
on walks. Harriet goes and watches psychology films or like psychology documentaries.
Yeah, the work doesn't sleep in this house. But no, we both love human behavior and analyzing human behavior, and using the skills that you learn through analyzing human behavior and applying it to our work. So for me, you can tell a lot about, like, especially when you're interviewing candidates, especially salespeople. That's where I spend a lot of my time interviewing salespeople. Really kind of seeing the truth behind the answers.
Tell me, come on, give me it. What do they do and what shouldn't they do?
Well, some people who are trying to hide something, and this is obvious, right? But some people who are trying to hide something will not give you a straight answer, no matter how many times you answer the question. So like if you're trying to get to the bottom of somebody's numbers, right? And a skilled interviewer will not only have like a top line question, but they'll have follow-up questions that they ask you. And most interviews, at least that I run, will maybe center around like 4 or 5 key areas that we want to dig into that are really relevant to the role, and equally understanding like deeply, okay, let's dig into that person's like one specific deal that they've run, because you can't sit there and talk about all deals. So knowing like what the deal is, and then asking the follow-up questions and say, okay, well, how did that contribute to your ARR? What was your target there? How much percentage of your target did you hit? How did you break down revenue? And just kind of seeing how people like move in their chair, or they like look around the screen, but they're not looking around the screen. They're like, if they're looking up to the left, they're like recalling something from their memory. And then you can tell if someone's like lying just by like, sometimes they can shift their weights like this. If they're uncomfortable in a specific question that you've asked, maybe they're a bit uncomfortable, or they like shrug their shoulder if they're not sure on what they're saying. So there's a number of different things. I'm not an expert. You have to go and look it up yourself. But if anyone's interested, then we watch the behavior panel on YouTube. It's a bunch of the leading behavior panel guys in the world who basically review clips and just tell you what's happening from a body language perspective. So
basically, Harry won't tell us because it's her alpha, and if she gives it away, it's gonna just completely decimate the market, and she can't attract the talent. No, I'm kidding.
It's also hard to like relay it back. Like when I'm learning it, and I'm new as well. Like I'm not an expert, so I'm trying to like learn as I go. But I'm not an expert yet. But when I have some really good tips, I will come back and tell you.
We're going to do a full-on segment on human psychology from Harriet. You also hire for the SuperSeed team themselves, right?
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation offline. I'm sure you see it the same. Some of these individuals are absolutely exceptional. How do you even begin to think about hiring for a partner role at somewhere like SuperSeed?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's insanely hard. I don't think.
Why do you do it? Why don't the other partners do it? Like, that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around.
That's a great question. That's a great question. I would love if they owned it. I look, I'm being facetious. They obviously pull their weight significantly in the recruitment process. I manage the front end of it. I think it's incredibly difficult to find that combination of analytical rigor, that human like understanding of human beings, that deep intelligence level. We also have a prerequisite that all of our investors, because all of our team are investors too, sorry, are founders too, or have been founders, that everyone who joins our investing team is either a founder or has been a founder and has really understood that founder journey, because we believe that it's having walked the walk, we can give really good advice on like how to build businesses more efficiently, and that makes it even harder. So it's not like we're able just to to see people from these investment banking M&A businesses with incredible experience, incredibly bright people, but for us it's that previous founder experience that really makes a difference. And then equally finding someone that's super excited about what we're building, right? There are so many VCs in London, so many in Europe where these people can go and apply to, but obviously we want people who are interested in our stage too. Again, goes back to the stage relevance. So we're still an early stage VC, understand that it's kind of like we're a startup investing in startups. So really knowing that they understand what that will entail day to day, bringing that like academic excellence, and like some of the team are some of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. So finding someone who adds into that already incredible mind hive within our team, and also has understands and wants to do venture capital, because a lot of people join VC and they're like, actually, you know what, this isn't for me. So it is just a really hard role to recruit for. Anyone in venture capital talent who has to recruit these roles will tell you the same. It's incredibly difficult, and like the investors and expectations are pretty high. And you think getting funding is hard, try recruiting an investor role. It's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly difficult. So I haven't got any tips at all. So don't ask me.
Is there one interview that stands out from a partner that you've interviewed over the years while at SuperSeed that you just consistently remember? It's just like it sits in recall. Was it a question? Was it someone whose aura just walked in and you were like, oh my God, after that conversation, just lit you up with that founder energy?
Yeah, well, I fortunately don't have to recruit partners. I think if a partner role came up, I think I would say investors, you should use your own network for this type of role. But the roles that I spend my time with are entry level first kind of role into VC. But generally, the ones that stand out are the people who have taken the time to really deeply understand us, understand where we invest, understand the industry. So really have a valid opinion and point of view about Industry 4.0, and a very technical and deeply understand AI, because all of our investors.
Harriet,
sorry, I keep saying investors.
I was gearing you up. I was teeing you up quite nicely to recommend someone inside of SuperSeed for me.
Well, I'm going to recommend all of them because they're all wonderful. So I will connect you with someone who will come on a call with you, I'm sure. But yeah, it's you'd be amazed how many people just have a conversation with us and haven't done any research about us, don't know anything about Industry 4.0. I have a really kind of like surface level answer as to why VC, why us, why now. And as a recruiter, we're listening for all of those things, and that just doesn't just go for what the role that I'm interviewing for a SuperSeed, but it's across like and you're ever interviewing for any role, having a deep understanding as to why you've applied for this position, why now, why this stage,
What's the
why
line you
this
get
opportunity.
most?
Oh, they're like, oh, I just, I really want to, I really wanted to get into VC, and it's more about like what they want. Like they're like, I want to get into venture capital, but it doesn't kind of go beyond that. Like, there's no like second question as to the next secondary answer as to why us, why SuperSeed. And this is not all people. Like, I get some amazing candidates, I speak to some really great people, really smart people who have done their homework, but it's the ones who have obviously not, who really stand out. And it's so obvious when you just ask a secondary question, like the follow-up question, and it's really disappointing. And I'm like, don't come and like waste my time if you haven't done the basics of your research about us, because it's like your one shot to impress. If you're so desperate to get into VC, it's your one shot to impress. And I think that it's just not really I don't know. I just think people just apply because they fancy a job in venture capital sometimes. But yeah, I think that there's a lot more that can be done. Like if I would apply for a job, I would never apply for like hundreds and hundreds of positions. I would only apply for roles that I know I would be in the top 1% of candidates that would be relevant for that role. And I would deeply do my research and understand exactly why I think it's the right fit in the right time. But I could have a valid conversation about it. But that's just me. So
Last question before we let you go. Obviously,
yeah.
over that 12-year period, you've honed the craft, you understand talent, you're putting in the reps on human psychology. Out of all of the partners at SuperSeed, which one do you look at and to go, wow, this person's mind is insane?
Oh God, come on. You can't put me on the spot
We're
and
putting you on
say
the spot.
which
You have
one.
to answer. I'm asking.
Look, they're all incredibly unique, incredibly special in their own way. I have a soft spot for my girl, Elena. Obviously, she's an absolute beast. She's very, very smart. She can speak 6 languages. She's incredible. But everyone is incredible in the team. So if anyone is watching this, I love all of you equally. I have no favorites. But yes, of course, Elena is a powerhouse investor, and she's incredibly smart.
Harriet, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming on the show. When you've done the PhD in human psychology, we're gonna have to bring you back on, okay?
Sure, that sounds good.
Thanks so much for the time. I'll see you soon. Ciao,
Thank
ciao.
you.